Good evening, guys. I got a knife review for you today of a well-known knife maker that I don't know much about and haven't had any experience with. This is my first Hogue knife. This is actually one of our sponsor giveaways for the next giveaway. This is the Hogue OTF model 34091-LIM 3.5 inch CPM 154 steel, clip point blade, tumble finish, solid black G10 frame, 7 of 24. So they didn't make very many of them. I have heard a few things here lately about Hogue OTFs, and they were good things. People are saying they're making a quality OTF. I'm not a huge OTF guy, but I still think they're cool. Starting with the packaging, that packaging is super cool. I would much rather have that than a hard case. That's a bag you could actually carry with you and actually use when you wanted to put your knife away in your truck or something. Okay, so we have a G10, solid G10 frame with a, looks like a stainless pocket clip. So on the blade it says Hogue USA OTF Limited Edition 7 of 24. Now I'm a little bit familiar with CPM 154 and the fact that I know that it's a great steel. Oh, they put a razor edge on that thing. That's one thing that I'm picky about. When I buy a brand new knife and it costs a little bit of money, or even if it doesn't cost money, the knife needs to come with an edge on it. There are too many knives being delivered and they're not sharp. They're not usable. And I'm not talking about they're not hair popping sharp. They're not sharp at all. They're just almost blunt. And these guys have got to spend more time and at least get the knife sharp. Cutting is the only function the knife has. If it can't do that, what good is it? Let's check the action out. The action feels really good. It's a little bit of a dun. You know, it doesn't have that quite crisp sound that Microtech has, which I think is probably the standard, but it is very smooth. And let's check the blade play. There's almost no blade play at all. There's just a hair front to back. You're going to get a little bit with an OTF. I don't care what it is, every one I've ever touched, but this one probably has the least I've ever felt. I would say this knife is definitely not over 4 ounces. It's doesn't have proprietary hardware either, like all the Microtechs. You could take this apart, though I wouldn't advise it. From what I've known, and of course OTF's one of the first knives I bought when I started collecting because they're cool, right? And I found, you know, for me they just weren't very practical. But I found that the best way to service these things is to spray some WD-40 in there and clean them out, and they're good to go. If you need to take them apart, you know, if you're me, I send it back in. I never had to do that, but they give you a nice, generous sharpening tool. Looks like about 150 thousandths thick blade. Maybe, well, no, it's not 150. That's probably 130. But good, solid blade. The handle to blade ratio is not great, but with OTFs, that's to be expected. One thing I will tell you, this probably has the best trigger of any OTF I've ever put my hands on. Some of the other ones, it's tough to get purchased. You can really get on this thing and go. I played with it a little bit before this, and of course it never misfired. I mean, it'll go non-stop and it's solid. You could absolutely carry this thing for an EDC and depend on it. I know there's a few other models. It kind of intrigues me that like they only made 24 of this knife, but I know they only made a few of each knife. I don't know if it's a test run or exactly what they're doing, but this is actually going to be a giveaway this coming month in a group sponsored by Drum Ghouls in Houston. They're getting their website up and going. They're a fine writing company that's always sold knives, but they've never had them on their website. Now they're going to put them on their website, and we're going to do some advertising for them. And I bought several knives from them. They always cut me a great deal. I go in there and buy some of their older knives, you know, stuff that's discontinued, and you know, they give me a discount on it, and man, I appreciate that. They're just good people. It's a little shop in downtown Houston. Looks like it's been there 100 years. But here's their card right here. If you're in Houston, they're at 2515 Rice Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77005. Put that up there so you can, if you can see it. If you're in Houston, you want to go by there, tell them I sent you. They'll definitely take care of you. They're great people. It's a family business. But man, if you're into OTFs, I would think you would definitely need to own one of these. This is that handle gives you great purchase as opposed to a Microtech. That'd probably be one of the negatives with the Microtech, is that the handles are pretty slim and narrow. Well, not all of them, but you know, like the Ultratechs, they're a little slim and narrow. This thing here, you could really grab onto, and you know, there's one main use for an OTF, and that's, to me, it's self-defense. But yeah, this thing is, it's smooth. This definitely has its own sound and its own feel, but it jumps out there. Let's take some measurements on it. So blade 3.5. Handle scales were 5 inches. It's a big difference in blade and handle ratio, but like I said, so we're 8.5 total. But with OTFs, that's to be expected. Put a couple of knives up against it. This is the Spyderco Paysan. Spyderco Capara, both similarly sized knives. And greatest EDC ever built, Spyderco Fleece Bowie. Anyway, that's about it, guys. I'm not a huge OTF guy, so I just wanted to kind of feature this on the channel and let you guys take a look at it. I'm super impressed with that pouch. That's cool, man. It's not oversized. You could stick that right in your pocket, and man, I wish every knife came with a little pouch like that. That'd be awesome. Anyway, y'all have a good evening. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.